totally unprompted and not staged whatsoever.
Never doing it again.
Now we're getting serious. We're getting serious again. Get up.
Totally not set up or staged.
Today, we're at Isenhouer Brothers Racing to talk with Nick and Chris about their top 5 tool categories for working on their vehicles. So let's go meet the guys and jump in. What's up, gents?
Oh, hey, hi, hello.
Hey, bud.
What's happening?
We're here to get a whole bunch of good info today. But first, let's start with who you are and what the heck is this beast?
I'm Nick Isenhouer. This is our steel cab 6100 truck. We did a full teardown and we're putting it all back together and to get ready for Vegas to Reno in a couple weeks.
And I'm just the help. No, I'm just kidding. My name's Chris Isenhouer, and I'm here to assist everything that needs to get going on in the shop.
In prepping this vehicle, what are your top 5 tool categories? And maybe you can take us through the stages of the prep and we gotta break it down into segments.
Step 1, we clean it, pressure wash it, do all that stuff, get all the dirt and grime and mud and grease and everything off of it. And then as soon as it's cleaned and stripped, it's time to disassemble. And that's when all the big tools come out. That's Chris's favorite part.
Yeah.
Being a diesel mechanic that he is, he just loves taking big bolts apart and hitting things with hammers and impact guns. I can show you over here some tools that we use for that type of stuff if you want. So totally unprompted and not staged whatsoever are most of the tools that we use to take a car apart. Aside from your regular box open end wrenches and sockets and all that, that's kind of a given. A lot of hammer varieties, a lot of pry bars and awls and pricks and punches and everything to kind of pull things apart. Specialty sockets for pulling hub nuts apart. Very, very, very important is the butane torch to melt all the Loctite away, because the entire car is held together with Loctite and you're not going to get those nuts loose unless you melt it all free. Another big one, once you get all the components and everything off of the car, we like to use the AGM Uniball tool, literally the best tool ever invented, because it just pushes the uniballs out. You don't have to walk up to the press or hit it with a hammer and have your buddy balance it. So, but yeah, these are kind of the general. I would assume most of you understand that this is what you need to take a car apart, but if you don't, this is what you need. Just big hammers and punches and torches and impact guns.
Lots of violent equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got the car apart, and that kind of gets these tools. So now once it's apart, what are your go-tos now to get everything kind of cleaned up?
This is something you can pick up from Amazon. It's definitely not a professional grade by any means whatsoever. I think it's a 7-liter or whatever it is, ultrasonic cleaner. And what it does is it has a heating element, as well as it just vibrates everything super duper fast.
Can we open it up and check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very dirty inside there because we just did a full...
So what's the liquid that's in there?
So we use a combination of either SC14 and water, or if something's really bad, we'll use diesel. But diesel's
really?
Diesel's kind of gnarly. But that's for bearings and things that are really real, yeah.
And then for that, it looks like there's just some temperature and time settings on the front.
Yeah,
and then is it cleaning by running a frequency through the parts?
Yes,
or
exactly.
how?
Yeah,
okay.
so it runs like a frequency, like a vibration of sorts, and it just kind of shakes everything off of the parts. Is the easiest way to explain it.
So anything that fits in here, way better than a rag and the old wipe down procedure.
And we still do that a lot because we have a regular parts washer, which same thing, we have a solvent in here as well to wipe things off and clean
And
it.
again, this is another thing you can grab on Amazon or something really inexpensively. Okay.
And then obviously your go-to, your standard.
Oh, that's my girl right there.
Scotch-Brite. It gives you these big old forearms, get you going.
Countless hours using that stuff.
You do that for the whole truck?
The whole truck, every square inch.
Never doing it again. Well, you said it's important.
Talk about why it's important to have a chassis clean, because besides looking good, there's actual function behind keeping everything clean, right?
Exactly. So number one is to look good. Obviously.
Always
look good. Fashion over function for sure. Yeah. But also, you want it clean so you can find all the cracks and the imperfections and find things that are broken. So when things are packed with mud and packed with rust, you're not going to notice a little crack in a joint or a little something going on until you really get in there and you get your elbow grease on it. And what also, doing the Scotch-Brite gives you time to actually inspect the entire car because you're touching the entire car.
Put hands on components.
This piece.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now we've got the car apart, we've got it cleaned.
Yep.
I'm guessing we want to write down a bunch of stuff or document what the heck's going on, right? So we can put it back together.
Yep. Very important is your cellular telephone. So
Hot dog.
what I do before broken cellular telephones What I do before we take the whole car apart is I like to take pictures of all the corners. And if you're gonna get as deep as plumbing and as deep as wiring, try and photograph how all that is routed. Because when it comes time to put it all back together, you're not gonna remember from 3 weeks prior how something goes back together. That is the driver's side. Sure? Yeah, because the hose goes, turn it the other way. To the phone.
Prime example
Perfect.
of why you take pictures.
To the broken phone. Fun tip for iPhone users here. You can search things, search car, which you can't see because my phone's broken, and it brings up any photograph of a car.
Well, that's cool.
Tech tip.
Wow.
Oh, I got one. You were right. Hose goes to the front.
Or if somebody's not here and somebody else is here, and
It's happened multiple times. When we stripped this down and went back together, he'd be at home and I'd be here working. I'm like, hey, is this transmission line plumbed or something like that? So he would send me the picture of that specific area. So it definitely helps having pictures of every corner and every aspect of the chassis.
And I'm sure there cannot be too much, like even
No.
different angles of the same shot, because you don't know what you're going to need to remember,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there's miles and miles of plumbing and wiring in these things, so making sure that like every little piece is taken down and noted helps big time.
Yep, making sure which way it routes, not only for correct plumbing, but also that you're staying away from any sharp edges that you learned about the hard way before, that you're not vibrating against other stuff. Yeah, there's a whole bunch involved. So now you've got it all measured. You got all the parts. Like, what do you do with all the parts?
We use a lot of these little bags from McMaster Car, and you can actually write down on the label. So there's so many nuts and bolts on the car that it's hard to keep track of all of it and where it goes.
And this would be any build, I'm sure.
Yeah, any
not
car.
just this thing.
Yeah, talk prerunner, side by side, anything. If you're going like in deep of a prep, you're gonna want to like note all that stuff down. And so between bags and then just like a regular notepad, making sure you have like notation of everything and where it all goes.
All right, recap. Now we got the car in, we got it cleaned, we got it apart, we got it measured. So we're starting to go back together.
Yes.
So what is the hot ticket for tools putting these things back together? Like, what do you guys rely on?
So I have some stuff over here.
Let's go check it out.
Totally not set up or staged.
No, none of these are.
So this is kind of our, I don't know, assembly kit, if you will. Your standard torque wrench, lots of different Loctites, everything from like, we use the blue Loctites for all the aluminum stuff. We use the green for seals, and then 2 different reds depending on how large the bolt is.
And when you say seals, green is really just anything with a smooth bore, right? No threads.
Exactly.
Okay.
Something you don't want spinning or moving.
Okay.
So we use this for all like the hub seals or the races and stuff like that, just so we ensure that nothing goes anywhere. And a lot of like, whether it's a pre-runner, play car, race car, we really like to ensure that everything's never going anywhere, and then we'll worry about taking it apart later. Like that's what the torch is for, and the big hammers and all that stuff, because the last thing you want something falling apart. Another big one we use is safety wire and safety wire pliers. So any sort of like blind fastener, like the term blind fastener is anything that doesn't have a nut on the backside, so something that threads in, we try to drill it and safety wire it just to ensure that that doesn't come loose, because as you know, in off-road anything, it's just getting shaken to death all day. So, but that, and then grease obviously for all the pivots and anything that has any sort of movement to it, or even just a standard bolt.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, definitely talk about the bolt too, especially with you guys doing stuff in all different environments where there's water and moisture involved. This is actually, I think, an unsung hero that not enough people talk about. So
there's a lot of people use different things. We are big fans of grease. A lot of people will use anti-seize, whether it be copper or silver, and I'm sure there's scientific breakdowns to whatever, but we like grease. We stick by grease. It's easier to clean up later. It's easier to inspect later, and it just ensures that that bolt will come back out of that pivot when you need it to, and it's not corroded from all the water and rust and dirt and all that. Look at the camera. Ready? Go.
Makes prep life a lot easier when things just slide in and out. So.
now I noticed in the break stuff apart category, you had kind of a, we've heard different terms. I've called it ladies foot. I have no idea why. We've heard punch. You guys were saying like 5 other different things. There's also a critical component in there when we're doing this reassembly stuff, right? With using those to align the holes and not like hammer and bolts home.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do, especially like, you use a nice bolt here that costs half a day's pay. The last thing you want to do is run this thing home with a hammer and gouge up all the threads. So we use like, like a punch or an awl, or just to ensure that the pivot's nice and straight, and then this will slide into it. So like,
and that's, now it's greased. We've got our Loctite, which we probably put on after the
correct,
hole. We've aligned it. Like it's really, really detail oriented, and it's really important to note these things because this is how stuff lasts longer, right?
Yeah. And then the very last step, so like I said, we'll grease it, Loctite it, and then we'll torque it to its spec. And you know, we write them on the side of our cabinet here, but every bolt has a torque spec depending on the thread pitch and the diameter of the bolt.
And manufacture the bolt and everything.
And manufacture the bolt, yeah. And then so the last thing we use is torque seal, cross check. There's a lot of different options for this.
Oh.
So you'll see all the little orange dots. These aren't just for style points as much as you think. What this does is you'll put this on anywhere where like a fastener can break loose. And what it allows for us to do is to quickly check during like a post test or a post qualifying to see if anything's coming loose. And see, you look in here and like, oh, okay. Because what it does is it actually hardens. If you look, this is a good demonstration of it. You put it across here and it hardens. And so if this comes loose or something moves, it'll actually break and you'll see a crack in that.
So whether it's a race car or a weekend warrior or anything, it is a fast way for you guys, like you said, whether you're testing or whatever, even maybe at a pit and you feel a vibration or something, it's a way for you or your pit crew to do a 5-second check. You've picked a color that's vastly different than the rest of the car to see if something's coming loose.
And a lot of the reason we put torque seal on almost everything is just when you have multiple people working on a car, it's just kind of like a cross check on each other.
Yes.
Yeah, put it in there. Point. But like, I torque the whole front of this car, so I dab everything, and I know that it's tight. So when
and you know that it's done.
And I know that it's done. Yeah. So literally this whole front end's done, and I don't have to worry about it. It's just time to add shocks. Whereas if Chris comes in later and he looks and he's like, I don't know if this is tight or not, he's gonna waste a bunch of time rechecking everything. Or none of us actually tighten it because we're like, oh no, he tightened it. No, he tightened it.
Pointing fingers at everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a good, like, you know.
So really, it's a time saver in addition to being a way to make sure everything's staying where it is. That's a really cool product. All right, what do we got next? Max. Who left their phone on while we're filming?
I don't know, there's probably some special tools or something that you guys use.
Specialty tools.
Now we're getting serious. We're getting serious again. We've taken it apart. We've cleaned it all. We've measured it. We've put it back together. In that process, are there any special tools that we maybe haven't touched on that are kind of like really good or go-tos that would also help?
We use the AGM brake bleeder a lot for bleeding the brakes when you're at that stage. It helps a ton, makes things a lot less messy, and you can do it by yourself, which is cool. Another thing we like to use are like prep stands, so you're not standing on components of the truck. So you're not standing on the hubs, you're not standing on the control arms. There's like nice, somewhat affordable stools. I mean, you don't have to buy a Craig Hall one. You can absolutely just go to Home Depot and buy whatever. A nice good set of like pipe stands, jack stands are helpful to secure the chassis and set it level. So you're not working on a, you know, not level surface, and you can make sure everything's good. We use carts. Craig Hall makes these prep carts. Oh yeah.
Very nice. So now we can move the chassis and move it around the shop if we need to, and clean things, and actually like, so when you disassemble the truck, you can roll it out and then pressure wash the entire chassis and then roll it back in so everything's clean, nice, and ready to go, instead of it sitting on jack stands and it's stationary in the shop. So it's definitely a lifesaver with these things now.
Yeah, and again, you don't have to buy the super fancy Trick Disco one.
Absolutely not.
You can go to Home Depot, find something. You can pick up some wheels at Harbor Freight, make your own thing.
Exactly.
Just don't do it out of fence post. That went
yeah,
bad for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, for the last, I don't know, 10 years, we've just used Harbor Freight jack stands with no issues. And it's just literally like, these are just this prep. We've got these, and
you gotta treat yourself sometimes.
So every now and then, you gotta ball out. Other specialty stuff. I guess we have like specific sockets for the hubs, which we talked about in disassembly. Use those in reassembly. Uniball tool, like we've touched base on, that's kind of a specialty thing that you wouldn't find at your normal store. But other than that, like, it's not rocket science. You just got to make sure you document it when you take it apart, and when you put it back together, you're thorough and you make sure everything's torqued properly and put together.
Yeah, and that, like we said the whole time, it's not just this super badass truck.
No.
I mean, it's everything. It's,
yeah, if you treat everything you work on as if it is a race car and you're getting ready to go do a 500-mile race, you're gonna have a lot less return work. It's all just gonna be good to go and never worry about it.
You have nothing but fun while you're out.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for kind of walking us through not only how you prep this, but the tools that you use to do it. Super informative, and appreciate your time.
Yeah, not a problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for coming by.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys have some free time, subscribe to these guys' channel. They need as much help as they can get. Leave a comment. Tell us how we're screwing up. Give us some tips. We still don't really know what we're doing. And if you need your car prep, let us know.
Where do they go if they need their car prepped?
It's just Instagram. Find us, Isenhouer Brothers Racing, or find ourselves Nick or Chris Isenhouer. You can do anything. Lawnmowers to 6100 trucks.
They're getting lawnmowers now.
Like, ooh, is there gonna be a sequel?
Yeah.
Probably. Ugh.